This video will be discussing topics such as pedophilia, rape, bestiality, zoophilia, human on animal, basically. So if it's just not for you, you don't want to listen to that, click off. I just want to put that out there in advance. So today we're going to be discussing the topic of furries. Originally a small internet community that slowly garnered attention, and you know they're basically very loud and proud about it. Most notably, the biggest convention out there, Midwest Fur Fest. They gained over 15,000 attendees as of 2023. To nobody's surprise, the community, like others, they have some bad actors and misrepresentation of the community. We're gonna list it off, okay? Creators like Sappho have come out in defense of zoophilia. Yes. Don't believe me? Boom, here's the article. Take a look at it. And Kara the Wolf, who has famously been outed as a sick fuck, bro, who likes to rail his own dogs. So along with having a vor necrophilia fetish, don't know what that is. Don't look it up. You don't have to. With examples of that, I mean, it comes to the surprise of nobody that furries been demonized from every corner of the internet. Can you blame anybody when literally the biggest creators, not the biggest, but the most loud creators or ones with who were quite popular back in the day were outed as just disgusting people. So it's not surprising that they have this image of just being complete weirdos who like to engage in activities with animals and all that. So we're gonna be talking about Khord Kitty though, not none of those two people. Thanks to the user HotCleanDucky9852 for this suggestion. They told me to do some research and I should actually research and make a video on the actual sick freaks in the furry community. So thank you. This video, yes, thank you. So Khord Kitty or Khord, which I'll be referring to, real name Gabriel or Gabe for short, is a fursuiter who lives in Oakdale, California, USA. Born in 1986, July 23, and grew up in Rochester, New York. Why am I mentioning his private life? You'll see, because the lore will be important down the line. So remember this. However, the animal persona of Khord was created around 2010, around there, with him even creating a shitty story behind it. I mean, you can look at it for yourself. Khord Kitty was originally a male human named Chris. He was cursed when he ran over a cat during a drunken after party drive. The unnamed cat had a karma spell which cursed him. The spell turned him into Khord Kitty. With no memories of her previous human form, Khord's personality is playful, curious, cheeky, and sly. Pay attention to that. It was a male human, but he refers to it as her previous human form. You see the inconsistencies? Inconsistency will be a common theme throughout this entire Khord Kitty story, or more specifically, the way he defends himself and the stories which he creates. Inconsistency, remember that. He started dancing and learning how to play multiple instruments around the age of 9, which allowed him to perform at many conventions, you know, more specifically BLFC or the Fursuit Musical, 2018, 2019, 2020. That's when he was popping off. Not to mention, he was also a producer for a furry music artist. At a furry convention, he performed a song about fursuits and how many who wear them have bad hygiene, which kind of backfired because everyone was claiming how this guy had some William Afton Springtrap type scent radiating from him. Later down the line, he would marry a fellow fursuiter or furry and get married at 2016, where it was a furry themed wedding at a furry convention. Like they had a whole furry priest there, and everyone was wearing cat ears and shit. Crazy. The marriage went well, and they rode off into the sunset. It's no, I wish, I wish. I mean, everything was going all right with these two, but I mean, yeah, they were basically made for each other. From the fursuits, interests, everything. But it got deep hella fast. The negative attention started to roll in when Court decided that it would be a genius idea to bring his newly born son into a furry convention. More specifically, a baby fur convention. And going as far as to commission a Forsona art piece of his newly born child. You don't know what baby furs are? Great, cool. I'm about to ruin it. I'm about to ruin your life. It's basically like animal, like furries, but like babies. You know what I mean? Baby furs. And they have a subgenre of it that enjoys baby fur and age play. Yes, these are where all the negative stereotypes come from. Obviously, the general furry community, there is some negative shit coming from that, but mainly it comes from age play and baby fur, the subgenre of furries. See, like me, if you didn't do research, you didn't know there will be a subgenre of it. Yeah, age play refers to pedophilia, by the way. Yeah, don't even try to debate me on that shit. I'm not hearing anybody out. Now, side note before I continue, I just want to say a lot of people will try to defend this action by saying, "Oh, it's don't kink shame me." No, it's not kink shaming. It's called doing the right thing. We can't just label everything as kink shaming when people call you out for being a disgusting piece of shit. Just because your fetish is bestiality, for example, or age play or baby fur, and people call you out for it, you can't say, "Don't kink shame me." No, you're a fucking pedo. So we have to draw the line somehow. You like feet, that's your fetish. It's a bit weird in my opinion, but it's not illegal. So, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, bringing an underage child, more specifically a baby, to a baby fur meetup was anything but normal, and it would just be inappropriate. It it's unfortunate I was not able to bring my son to an actual baby fur meetup, but I was told by several people that that could be awkward. If you thought it couldn't get worse, well, you're mistaken, because Khord would go on the following year and explain why he chose to bring his newborn baby to a fur con with his ex-wife. Yes, they got divorced. Furry convention, don't bring the kids. We brought Damien to BLFC, Califer, Paul, FC, Vancouver, TFF, and BLFC. We intended to bring him and Perry, his other newborn son, to a bunch more cons, but there's nothing wrong with it. Because there's nothing wrong with it. I don't understand this helicopter parent mindset where it's my responsibility to protect him from seeing any and all things that don't seem Judeo Christian enough. We brought Damien to BLFC, don't know what that is, basically fur cons. Well, you wouldn't bring your child to a BDSM fest, would you? And yes, it as a parent, obviously it is your responsibility to protect your child from seeing inappropriate things to the best of your ability. That includes not bringing them or exposing them to anything mildly inappropriate at a young age, especially considering the child was still a baby at the time, something Cord's parents failed to do. Baby fur isn't a fetish group. It's people who choose a baby fursona. Yes, they have their weirdos and pedo bears, obviously, but it's possible to be a baby fur and not being into a baby rape. Just like how it's possible to be a furry without being into animal rape. Someone would later question him by saying, "Why did you get caught trying to take your baby into a baby fur panel a year ago?" And he responded with, "The hilariousness of seeing the faces of the baby furs at a real baby showing up will be priceless. Though I understand the average furry assumes that all baby furs are pedophiles who rape babies. There's literally absolutely nothing wrong with taking my kids to a baby fur room party. You just assume they're all pedos because of bias. I've been saying this for years. Baby furs are to furries as furries are to non furries. They're needlessly mocked and accused of being fetishists, okay? Which only intensifies their tribalism. I'm not trying to white knight baby furs, I'm just telling the truth." Sure. Amazing response, everybody. We gotta. Oh, just clap it up. Clap it up, man. Clap it up for Cord right here for this amazing, amazing rebuttal. Wow. He was later found out to be following multiple NSFW baby animal artists, which is just, well, fuck to begin with. He he would then attempt an NBA style rebound in order to save his skin by saying, "Man, I have no recollection of typing that. Damn, I embarrassed myself. Oh well, I sure screwed up. Look, guys, I'm sorry about this. I've absolutely no recollection of typing that part. Gosh, did I fuck up." Playing dumb, brushing it off as a simple mistake, like he just simply forgot, and just shitty mental gymnastics will be a common theme later down the line for his controversies. Like I said, inconsistency, remember that. But important to note, the fact still stands. I never tried to bring my son to a baby fur party. I never went to the party floor. I didn't even watch him during that con. My ex did. I've been protecting him from danger. I do all the things a parent ought to do. I cover the outlets, never leave him with strangers, never brought him near any dangerous situations at any time. I never tried to bring him any near any baby furs, and I never even talked to any baby furs at BLFC. Ask anyone there. Again, referring back to the tweet. It's unfortunate I was not able to bring my son to an actual baby fur meetup, but I was told by several people that it could be awkward. along with the hilariousness of seeing the faces of baby furs at a real baby showing up would be priceless. Inconsistency, brushing it off as just a harmless prank. To say he never tried to bring his son, I mean, that excuse is just a bunch of horseshit because there are literally screenshots of him tweeting about it. You can't escape the allegations. Now, this is the part where shit's gonna get real. So, people managed to find his fetish list. Yes, not even joking. Which go from barbed cocks or cat penis. Yeah. hmm you didn't mishear that. Cat penis. Activities which I will be going over. It's not a stretch to assume that not only is Khord a pedo, he's sure as hell unfit as a parent, bringing his child into his personal fetish. During the case of which him and his ex-wife Deborah were undergoing a custody battle, John Anik style, Cord or Gabriel was exposed to have pages such as Guide to Having Sex with Your Dog and multiple zoo sadist website bookmarked on his computer, which his wife would then screenshot and send to all her friends, further painting the image of Gabriel being a zoophile and an unfit parent. He would later defend himself by claiming it was just a study on abnormal psychology and just all done for the sake of science. All complete research, you know. It's not that I'm into dogs or anything. I just want to know and study abnormal psychology. It's not like there are tons of other books out there that you can read, tons of YouTube videos that you can find, you know, studies out there on the internet dating all the way back. No, you want to look at a zoo sadist website. I hope you can see the recurring theme of him getting caught and creating poor excuses to save himself. Lest we forget, same guy that pretended, to forget attempting to bring his newborn son into a baby fur meetup as a joke. To make things worse, not too long after he was exposed for having his cat persona commissioned to be getting railed by dogs. So I hope you can see the pattern here. How the guy to have sex with your dog and he wanted his persona to get railed by a couple of dogs. He would later hop on a call to attempt to defend himself. As you can see, it didn't go so well because people started to decipher his bullshit. Nobody bought it. He claimed that by converting his age to cat years, making the cat 4 years old is technically not age play.
Thinking a human sapient. So the idea of like a human inside of like a feral quadruped. That's where that came from. Pretty much my whole F list, it's literally just based off of that backstory.
Okay, as time continued to pass, Gabe would again be caught for being involved in a group chat, admitting to watch cat mating videos. And I quote, "But with cats, they scream and scratch and dance around and it's wild. It's entertaining." While also claiming there was nothing inherently wrong about it, as he imagined them to be in the same situation as Chris the human, his persona that ran over the cat. So he imagined them to be anthropomorphic animals that were transformed from humans to cats. Say, so it's not bestiality in his logic, and would further respond to the allegations by saying, "I'm not into fucking cats." Again, the number one most popular fantasy of all women is to be raped. This is according to Louis H. Janda, an associate professor of psychology at Old Dominion University. If fantasy is intent, then that means most women are into being raped. You must be intellectually consistent. If fantasy is intent, then that means one, most women are into being raped. Two, I'm into fucking cats. Both statements are equally false because fantasy is not intent. Fantasy is simply an idea which turns someone on. You know for a fact that most women are not into being raped, so you must conclude I'm not into fucking cats. Well, first of all, let's entertain the idea, okay? Let's just pretend what he's saying has some truth to it. Most sane women, number one, don't commission art of them getting raped, and they don't go out publicly on lists saying, I want to be raped. You see the comparison here? Furthermore, to just reaffirm the statement that he is into fucking cats, he literally watched videos while having the fetish list up with zoophilia. He removed age play, but zoophilia was just so important, he left it up there. You can also see screenshots of him admitting to enjoying watching cats mate. So using the rape fantasy claim and saying you have to be intellectually consistent with both is in like in my opinion, a flawed argument, and the comparison just doesn't work because one is a general study, the other is specific with facts to back up the argument and allegations. Remember when I said the thing about parenting and why you shouldn't expose your children to inappropriate things? Well, here we are. This text was surfaced during the midst of the ongoing allegations and overall public dislike for Khord. My mom showed me a bestiality video once. No joke, it was the funniest shit ever. Some woman had a horse in her mouth and she choked it. Was so fucked up. That's why I have the chillest family in the world. We laugh at dumbasses, but yes, animal abuse is horrific. So, in an attempt to save his skin again, he would come up with another shitty 5 minute excuse by saying it was a blooper, how the woman fell down during the interaction with the horse, as I, would like to put it. Like, oh man, this is so funny. Nothing like a good old fall before you suck on horse cock. Am I right? Like, you're just total comedy, man. You can find that anywhere else. That doesn't clear you of the allegations. The fact that your mom still showed you the video is still messed up. Now, we have another set of characters joining. Khord's parents. If you think his mother showing him horse porn wasn't bad enough, he later claims that his father complimented his furry porn that he drew at age of 16. So what can we make of this? His mom showing him a bestiality video casually, and his father just saying, "Hey son, I like the art. Your furry porn art that you drew at age of 16. Super inspiring. Just it should be hung up on museums. Honestly, the most inspiring piece of work I've seen. Good job." Pats his son on the back and walks out the room. It is not, risky or far fetched to assume that his parents are probably the base of Khord's just irresponsibility and the fact that he's such a fucking weirdo. Basically indoctrinating him and encouraging him that being a zoophile and engaging in these activities such as age play, baby fur, to put your son out there and say, hey son, go enjoy this baby fur meetup, will be okay and acceptable. I'm not taking away any fault from Khord, but the parents are also certainly to blame for this incident because if they were better parents and would be able to not show your son horse porn or encourage bestiality, like that should be a given. I really doubt that most of the atrocities that he committed could have been prevented. Later that year, Deborah, Gabriel's ex-wife, would go on Kiwi Farms, a website which you cannot access anymore, to claim that he has done nothing for me, except being a huge burden financially and a source of constant annoying drama. Because of the wild claims and just outright heinous actions that Khord Kitty had committed so far, it came to the surprise of absolutely nobody that he was affiliated and even friends with those retarded enough to share the same mindset and fetishes as him, those being General Fulfi I, a known zoo sadist, and Gabe's roommate at the time when he was in California, Foxter Nightfire, a zoophile and a child groomer who dresses like a German fascist group member in the 1920s and has been publicly outed for doing racist Nazi rants in public. Lava Dog Ashpaw, real name Kyle Damian Kuberski, a convicted pedophile and a rapist who raped an underage boy at the age of 13. Toaster Rabbit, another sick fuck who had distribution and possession of CP. Spark Dalmatian, possession of CP and a known pedophile. Jason FX, a pedo zoophile who groomed his 15-year-old girlfriend while banning those who called him out in a public furry group chat. Carl R. Kirkwood, possession of illegal content such as possession over 50 videos of CP and distributing 20 counts of it. He later committed suicide after accepting a plea deal in 2018. Now, with all that knowledge of Khord, his affiliates, and that's just not all, by the way. I cut the list short. There's way more. Just just to get you to know what kind of people he was affiliated with and the people who he outright defended, going as far as to blocking people and removing people from group chats that called out his disgusting friends. How does that make you feel? Khord and his affiliates walking around freely at fur cons, convicted criminals, sex offenders, pedos, rapists, child groomers, just walking around freely, nothing much to stop them seemingly. How does that make you feel? You can answer that. Following the heat of these claims, Khord would later be found texting a 17-year-old female while he was 27 years old. That's a 10-year age difference. Gabriel commissioned NSFW art depicting both their characters going at it and was consistently pressuring the 17-year-old female to meet up physically, and even suggesting that they both got naked in front of each other. Eventually, he managed to meet up with her as she eventually caved. She got gaslit into thinking it was okay. He would defend himself by saying, "My entire life I believed that don't have sex with people with more than a 10-year age difference, and that's all." It's one of those subjects literally no one has ever talked to me about. I didn't see any posts about it. Simply put, a local furry said they were yiffy on social media, and I talked to them about it. Mutual flashing happened, that's the worst of it. We watched Princess Mononoke, ate pizza, and I invited other furs over to watch movies and hang out too. Didn't try to hide any information about that. We're still friends. He would try to defend himself by claiming that his friends and family saw nothing wrong with his actions. Well, obviously they didn't. His friends are convicted criminals, and his family are zoophiles. So you're better off getting an opinion on whether child grooming is right or wrong from Jeffrey Epstein. He would then double down by saying, "To be perfectly honest, my point of view was this person is the legal age of consent. It's their choice. I felt perfectly moral because everything was legal and nothing in my life experience would tell me otherwise. And still, no one is telling me there's anything wrong with it, including my friends and family." Well, no, a lot of people were calling him out on the situation. You just chose to block and remove them from group chats. This shows the level that he would stoop to in order to defend himself from the already solid and basically proven claims by saying, "I felt perfectly moral because everything was legal," although there being a 10-year age difference, and essentially grooming the 17-year-old into getting naked in front of him through the means of lying, gaslighting her, painting the false image of the girl being in control when clearly she wasn't. Were exposed, and she would be seen telling Khord that she had nightmares about him coming over and bad things would happen due to her past traumas, which he would respond with, "I don't feel like I exploited her because all I had from her was a friendship which lasts still today. She was flirty, more domineering, so I was more submissive, and I was going with the flow. Neither of us felt uncomfortable at all. I mean, she needs to be domineering. She was a proud black woman living in one of the most cutthroat boroughs and was a drug dealer as well. Unsure when she started dealing drugs. So all that being said, she was in control the whole time, and my goal was to make sure I was as chill as and normal as humanly possible." That will be his defense. Well, if you want to just remove the veil of his bullshit, basically he's trying to say, because she grew up in a tough environment and is basically traumatized at a young age, being forced to sell drugs, I manipulated that feeling, allowing her to believe I was her only friend, which led to mutual flashing. It's totally not pedophilia or exploitation because we both agreed on it. It was consensual. It's basically what his defense was. Bullshit, honestly. I mean, come on. The news would eventually hit Twitter, and many would go against Court Kitty, outright exposing him, talking about the similar incidents that happened to them. In a poor attempt to defend himself, Gabriel would drop the greatest, like, "Nah, no, I didn't do that" card ever and claim he was a teleophile. Yes. The defense of not being into 11-year-olds, messaging 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds was, "I'm not into young minors, I'm into old minors, 17-year-olds, teleophile. Use it properly, guys. I'm not a pedo, I'm a teleophile. It's not the same." It's like saying, "Oh, I didn't kill four orphans. I didn't shoot up a school. I just shot up a old folks home." It's still bad. I don't know what he expected to get from this. Did he expect people to go, "Oh, guys, he's just a teleophile. Oh, that's normal, teleophile. Oh, I'm a teleophile." What kind of reaction was he expecting from social media? He would then follow up with, "Also, let me teach you the definition of grooming since none of you are using it correctly. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, grooming is the criminal activity of becoming friends with a child, especially over the internet, in order to persuade the child to have a sexual relationship." So, according to the Cambridge Dictionary and the Scientific American, all of you aren't using the English language correctly. How sad. Hopefully you learn someday unless you're purposely misusing it for the lols, which I'm fairly certain of. I mean, we all know we weren't we as in everybody else calling him everything under the sun was not purposefully misused, especially a child groomer, because you can go on Court Kitty Archive on Twitter or X right now. I will leave that a link to that in the description or in the pinned comment below if you want to learn everything, even up to date updates. It's kind of sad because it's still up. It's still up and running. He's still doing the shit. He was later brought onto a podcast hosted by its Lucid creator, where Khord was asked about the age of consent and his opinions about it, which he would respond to by saying he has no opinion regarding the situation and that he doesn't care what the age of consent is. He did hint at it was 18, but we can't really take this word for it as he was caught pressuring a 17-year-old to, you know, flash in front of him. It did happen. And he is friends with convicted rapists and pedophiles. So why would he go out and say, "Oh, I don't care." Obviously, he did it to not seem hypocritical knowing his friends past their criminal record. He will later go on to make another statement claiming that he's suffering the same treatment of innocent Ukrainians and Jewish people who were the victims of the Holocaust. That's just so low, if you ask me. Trying to compare people calling him out for the piece of shit father and scumbag that he is to victims of unjustified and immoral war crimes and genocides. It's so goofy because it's not like, people can give him the benefit of the doubt. It's not anything debatable. Everybody knows, like, jokes aside, everybody knows that Jewish people were victims of unfair treatment, racism, and war crimes, and multiple human rights violations. And everybody knows Khord groomed minors, is a zoophile, and just a horrible person. This isn't up for debate. So I don't get how you can compare the two. Both are facts. Jewish people were victims. Khord is responsible for creating these victims. The gall of this man to say, and right now they are trying to stop me from making more contributions to the furry fandom. Contributions of what? Trying to make the whole community look like a bunch of pedophiles? Like, me personally, furries are weird. But, and I know, we all like to joke about it. We all like to fucking call them everything under the sun. But to me, it's all in good fun. This is where all the allegations and all, you know, the hate for furries come from. It all stems from people like Khord. And I think you can, we can just, everybody, like, let's just drop everything for a second. Whether you like furries, you want all furries dead, you don't care what furries are. Let's just drop all of that for a second and just look at Khord or Gabriel as a person. Furry or not, the crimes that he has committed is outside the furry world. This dude is a zoophile and a pedophile, a child groomer who is friends with multiple convicted rapists. It's not about no community anymore. It's just about finding a way to just catch this guy and move him away. Just put him in prison. No, stay away from kids. No social media access. Take him away from his child. Two children. This ain't even about community no more. It's just about being good people. Or, this guy is an asshole as a person. Fuck the community shit. That does not have, it doesn't play into this. Now, sadly, this isn't over because Khord is still active, attempting to roleplay and groom other minors, using his whole bestiality roleplay shit with other public role players. These screenshots are from October 2021. Credit goes to Khord Kitty Archive on Twitter or X. Check it out if you want to. You don't have to. I'm just saying if you want to know more about the situation or keep up to date the heinous shit that this man is doing, it's right there. The victim has come out and admitted that Khord made her feel uncomfortable and has since moved far away from him and deleted any form of contact with Gabriel. I want to close off this video by saying that this man is a father who is affiliated with known sex offenders and criminals. And the fact that he isn't in prison or taken away from his two children is really concerning because who knows what will happen to a child like that? Grew up with two zoophile parents, two zoophile grandparents in the midst of a divorce. Hopefully the victims of him are safe. They're all good and all that. Court doesn't contact them no more, or they're responsible enough to move away from him, even on social media. I personally believe that law enforcement should do something about this. They should assert themselves in the situation because all the evidence is there. Maybe you could not convict him with all those charges all his friends got, but at least you could convict him for harboring fugitives or harboring criminals, having this knowledge, remaining friends, and even publicly defending them, not turning them into the police. You could charge him for that. Something. I don't see how that will be unfair, how people would even defend him in this situation. And his child is just all over the internet, like pictures of it, baby pictures, so who knows what his child is going through, that's just fucked. And jokes aside, everyone likes to shit on furries like that. We like, whenever I'm low on views, I just make a I hate furries. You just shit on people like this. But if you don't know who Khord Kitty is, like me before making this video, I hope maybe you learned something, because sure as hell I did, and that it's still a very real threat. He is. I spoke like Yoda in backwards. He is still out and about, still texting people. He's still roaming freely, I assume. So those younger are definitely ill. They're not equipped with the knowledge, or just more. They're more prone to grooming. The risk factor is higher, especially furry movement, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Communities growing larger and more young kids are joining every day, and you have rampant pedos loose within the community, especially someone like Khord, his affiliates. It just makes it even worse and scarier knowing that these people are running around in fur cons or on social media texting the next 8-year-old child asking to flash. I can only hope that, eventually Twitter, X, Elon Musk, maybe he can do something about this. I don't know. But yeah, I just hope, all the best to his two sons and all the other victims of his. Thank you for watching. My name is Monotone7. This is I Hate Furries 3 Khord Kitty Edition. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time.
Căn nhà chân mai lá làm sao có giá được trăm cây vàng nè. Có mấy lời bay lá, còn anh thiếp về ngay cho chàng.